to copy anybody else. I said, not much, you know, and he says, well, what about a couple of nights at Ronnie's? And I went, yeah, thanks, I ran away.
Jeff Beck wasn't just a guitarist, he was a force of nature. A man who could make 6 strings scream, whisper, and speak languages most musicians never learned. But behind the brilliance was a brutal honesty that spared no one. And through the years, Beck didn't hide which bands made his blood boil. Today, we dive into the 6 bands Jeff Beck absolutely despised, and why his reasons were far deeper than simple rivalry. Before we start, please subscribe, it really helps the channel keep making stories like this. Number 1. Led Zeppelin, the personal betrayal. Most feuds start with jealousy, this one began with identity. Before Led Zeppelin ruled arenas and rewrote rock history, Jeff Beck was already experimenting with distortion, feedback, and raw guitar violence inside the Yardbirds. To Beck, he was the scientist, and Led Zeppelin was the company that patented his discoveries. As Zeppelin's first album exploded worldwide in 1969, insiders claim Beck watched the rise with a painful mix of admiration and anger. Jimmy Page, his former bandmate, suddenly became the poster child of the sound Beck believed he pioneered. Former manager Peter Grant once revealed Beck's simmering frustration. Jimmy built his career on the experimental techniques Jeff created, and the world gave him the credit. To many musicians, Zeppelin was revolutionary. To Jeff Beck, they were the polished, commercialized version of his own raw breakthroughs, and he never felt the world acknowledged that. Number 2. Pink Floyd, guitar turned into background noise. As progressive rock expanded, Pink Floyd became kings of atmosphere, philosophy, and mood. But for Beck, something crucial was missing, the guitar wasn't leading anymore. He regarded David Gilmour as a gifted guitarist, but grew annoyed that Floyd buried technical brilliance beneath soundscapes and long, conceptual passages. A former Harvest Records executive recalled Beck's irritation. Gilmour has the chops, but why hide them behind clouds of effects? Critics began praising Gilmour's restraint and emotional spacing, sometimes even comparing him to Beck. To Jeff, that felt like the world rewarding minimalism over mastery, a cultural shift that he believed robbed the guitar of its rightful throne. Ironically, Gilmour admired Beck deeply. But Beck saw Floyd's approach as a dangerous direction where rock became philosophy first, musicianship second. Number 3. Foreigner, safe, corporate rock. If Zeppelin symbolized Beck's stolen legacy, Foreigner represented something worse, rock music being sanitized. Beck and Mick Jones shared a similar background, blues, grit, and experimentation. But when Foreigner debuted in 1977 with polished, radio-friendly hits, Beck reportedly felt Jones had betrayed the rebellious spirit of rock. A former Atlantic executive recalled Beck's reaction after hearing their debut album. He said Mick turned rock into safe suburban music. Beck hated music built by formulas, focus groups, and predictable chord progressions. Foreigner's massive success made it worse. Beck played dangerous, improvisational shows. Foreigner delivered note-perfect hits. He once described their style as assembly line rock disguised as rebellion. To him, Foreigner wasn't pushing boundaries, they were packaging them. Number 4. Yes. The Math Equation rock band. Jeff Beck respected technique, but not when it turned into academia. According to producer Eddie Offord, Beck attended a Yes concert, and walked out by the second song. His explanation was blunt. They play like they're solving math equations. Where's the soul? To Beck, progressive rock's obsession with complexity smothered emotion. He believed music came from instinct, danger, and gut feeling, not from mastering every scale in a textbook. He once told Melody Maker, "Technique means nothing without feeling." Ironically, Steve Howe admired Beck immensely. But Beck saw Yes as a warning of what rock could become: intelligent, impressive, but emotionally empty. Number 5. Journey. The rise of the Machines. Unlike other feuds, Beck's issue with Journey wasn't with guitarist Neil Schon. He respected Schon. His real enemy was the keyboard. As the 80s approached, Journey, especially with the Escape album pushed synthesizers and glossy production to the center stage. Guitars started sitting in the back seat. According to Columbia Records engineer Roy Haley, Beck dissected the album and complained, "They're letting machines replace real musicianship." To Beck, guitar wasn't just an instrument, it was identity. When rock music became more electronic, he feared the soul was being drained away. Journey had no hatred in return. But to Beck, they symbolized a critical moment when rock began choosing convenience over craftsmanship. Number 6. Boston, The Beautiful Lie. Of all the bands Beck criticized, Boston hit the deepest philosophical nerve. Tom Scholz, engineer, perfectionist, mastermind, created one of the most polished debut albums in rock history. But Beck believed Boston relied too heavily on studio perfection instead of real musicianship. Former producer Bob Ezrin recalled Beck's scathing response after hearing them. "This is what happens when engineers become more important than musicians." Boston's layered harmonies and pristine sound challenged everything Beck valued. Rawness, imperfection, danger, human touch. Where Beck used the studio as a tool, Boston used it as the primary artist. And that, to him, was the ultimate betrayal of rock's spirit. By the late 70s, Beck no longer saw Boston as a band, but as the face of an industry obsessed with perfection over authenticity. So, what do you think? Did Jeff Beck have a point? Or was he too protective of the guitar's throne? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Rock Fame Diaries. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.